Good morning, everyone. Jim and John here.
Good morning.
We are here today. First of all, we're here to talk about your weekend, John. How'd it go over the weekend?
Weekend was some exercise, some work, and relaxation. I watched some movies for a change.
What'd you watch? Anything good?
Last night we watched what was it? The one with Bruce. It was a true story. It was the story of.
A man named Brady.
Mm, can't think of the name of it. Can't think of it. I will. I'll bring it
All
up in
right.
a second
Get
here.
back to us on that. Anyway,
Yeah, get back to us on
we
that.
have.
I think
Oh
we're,
my
we're all
God.
having
Tomorrow.
memory problems today.
Yeah, well,
We're because that's because we're so excited to have Justin Taylor on our little radio show here. I could not be more excited. I know we say that a lot, but man, Justin Taylor. I would say teacher, instructor, leader, um,
he's one of the most
extraordinary
motivational guys I've ever had teach a
trainer.
class.
What is your official title, Mr. Justin Taylor? For a real
Uh,
rock.
on paper, it's business development and training executive.
That doesn't do you much justice. I think you're so much more
Everyone,
than that.
everyone uses other adjectives and things to describe me. So
Well, I say this in all sincerity that I'm sitting next to a very good trainer right here, but you, my friend, are one of the best trainers I've ever been around. I mean, you have patience, you have knowledge, and you sold real estate for how long?
since 2016, so
So
not too long, 6 years
full time.
full time. Yeah,
I,
yeah. I was a sales manager for a real estate team when I first got into real estate. My previous life was retail, so I was a store manager, a district manager, district trainer. I did some corporate stuff for an organization, and then that definitely couldn't have been a lifelong thing. So I jumped over to real estate and became a sales manager for the number one team here in Arizona, and got a ton of experience there. And you know, it just connected, all the dots connected, and built a lot of great relationships. So
my a lot of my background is in retail too, and I remember thinking about retail when someone did you actually work with customers, or did you work in behind the
in
scenes,
the
or what?
beginning, yeah, in the beginning, both. Yeah,
What someone told me about retail, when you work in retail, you have to be on all the time. You
all the
could be
time.
going through something very bad in your life, whatever, but if someone walks up and is in your face, you better be on, ready to. And that's the way real estate is. Sometimes you got to put your own
Yeah.
feelings aside, and
Why
and
real estate though? I mean, you're coming out of what you came out of. What made you jump to real estate?
because he didn't like
Jim,
making
Jim.
14 bucks an hour at
Yeah.
retail.
No, I've always had. I mean, as a kid growing up, like real estate was always a kind of an interest in me. I just, right? It goes back to the HGTV effect, all the different shows online.
Mhm.
My parents had invested in some rental properties, so there was additional interest there and things like that. I don't know. It just seemed uh, interesting.
You know, it's funny. We're all instructors, all three of us. Um, you being probably much better than the two of us, but the thing that I find really interesting is real estate itself is pretty elementary. It's not that difficult, and people have such a hard time grasping what we try to show them and tell them, and they try to make it so much more complicated than it really has to be.
Yeah.
Do you find that?
100%. I mean, and that's why a lot of my trainings, I really try to break it down to. And I know we're talking social media today, but it's like there's an unlimited amount of platforms that we could be posting on, and it just complicates it. We complicate it instead of just pick one and be consistent with it. But I think that's like a lot of things in general is we just as humans complicate uh, things quite a bit. But especially in real estate, when I'm sitting one on one with an agent and they're overwhelmed, and then we start really breaking it down to what it's going to take and just the simple steps, it's very, very simple. We just have to be consistent with it. I mean, that's, I think, the biggest thing with this business. I mean, life in general, right? But especially with real estate, you really have to be consistent. It just doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay. Well, today we're talking about social media. That's the reason we asked you to come aboard. I mean, you've been helping us all summer long with the Summer of Social Media here in the Green Valley office with all of the different platforms that are out there in social media. I'm interested to know a timeline, like what came first, and then what came after that, and why did it come after that, and then what happened after that? I mean, I'd like to know your view on the social media world and how we got to where we are today.
Yeah, wow, we're gonna it's memory lane.
That's a lot. That's a lot to unpack there, but
Yeah. So if I were to go back, so I grew up, right, as a millennial, okay? But I actually work, right? I'm not that typical millennial that is described. But going way back, in my eyes and experience, started with MySpace, right? I mean, do we remember MySpace all the way back then? It started as a social media platform, and uh, Tom, who started it was it was supposed to be a great Facebook. And there was just a lot of issues that ended up happening. And now it's a music platform. But I think it started with that. And as the internet age started to evolve, they found that they could make money, right? Because these platforms are free to use. They found that they could make money by advertising. So that's when right now we see Facebook ads, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, no matter what it is, YouTube, you have Google pay-per-click ads. Everything is ran with ad revenue now. But going way back, I mean, that's where it started, MySpace, the idea of really connecting. It was for colleges back in the day. And it was only for people that in college, you had to have a college email and things like that. And then it just started to evolve. And they could see, right, dollar signs, investors, things like that. Kind of how could they pivot that into a scalable business? So I think it evolved with that. People started to be very interested in sharing their day-to-day life. It connected people globally, right? We see that now we can communicate and connect with people all around the globe, especially as a business. Huge as a business, because even we have international clients, right? So the other week in a class, I gave them a stat, and it's a true stat, that only 25% of all online searches are done in English. 25%. 75% of all global online searches are done in other languages other than English. So, I think that social media truly helped connect people on a global scale, whether it's, for the good or bad, right? We see a ton of different things happening with that. But, a timeline, I think, from what I can remember back with MySpace is what I grew up. That's where I actually learned how to do a lot of coding, website building, because you could customize your profile and all that stuff. So I got into HTML, JavaScript, and all that stuff. So it kind of just started that wheel of, design and marketing and branding. And then, of course, we had Facebook come about, and then Instagram, and of course, YouTube was in the making during there. So all these platforms were kind of just navigating how they could one up or be different than the other and what they are. And the one consistent thing that they all incorporate now and focus on in their algorithms is video. And I know I talk about it a lot, but if you think about it, they all pivoted and really focus their algorithms towards video. And that's kind of where we're at today. So you hear a lot of my trainings, I talk about video is really the new location. That's how important it is.
Well, the platforms that you've taught today, starting with, you started here with YouTube, then you moved on to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn. Tell us about those platforms, and what do you see as the up and coming one, the one that's going to take over for the other ones more than others?
Yeah, I think in terms of attention, it's video in general, but I would say YouTube right now, for ease of use. Okay, because when we're talking, if our audience is real estate agents, I'm always thinking, what's going to be the easiest adoption for them to actually use it? And I think YouTube Shorts is one of the most underutilized video platforms right now. Okay, so we know YouTube.
What is YouTube Shorts? What is it?
YouTube Short is the equivalent to TikTok. So we have TikTok, we have Instagram Reels, and we have YouTube Shorts. And next week that's really gonna be a focus on YouTube Shorts. But when TikTok came about, and we've learned of how much they've grown out of all the other platforms, I mean, insane growth. And the ability for people to go viral and gain traction the algorithm is just very much more loose in the sense that you can get a lot of views. So when TikTok came about and they had so much growth, uh, these other platforms had to pivot. So you have Instagram that came up with Reels. They're basically the same thing the way that they're set up. YouTube Shorts came out, again, basically the same thing. So when I talk about when you're recording a video and you can record and pause, record stop, they all have that same feature. So when you're in each of these, you're going to see a very similar interface in how to navigate it. But to go back to the question, I think that YouTube Shorts is should be the priority, and the reason is and this is a stat from NAR: 51% of all home buyers use YouTube as their number one search source. 51% of all home buyers go to YouTube for their research. And why do they do that? Because they want to learn more about the local community. They connect on that level. They want to know what's happening, all that good stuff. So that's why I would push YouTube Shorts instead of a normal video, because YouTube Shorts is easier to do. There's less editing, and the algorithm allows you to be viewed by a lot more people. So when I posted my first YouTube short on Rock University, it got 1.4 thousand views within like a day. So it really, and if I were to post that on Instagram, nowhere close to that.
You posted a YouTube short. How many subscribers do you have on your YouTube channel? Was it on a channel or what?
Yeah, yep. It was on the Rock University channel. At the time, I had 35.
35. 135,000? 35.
No. See, that's the beauty, right? So, right, you don't have to necessarily have all these followers in order for you to get viewed by people, right? So these YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels, the algorithm has changed drastically to where they're going to now put that video in front of people that they think are going to most consume that content, which just jacks up your views and how many people can view you. So huge.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Think about it for a sec. But as from the side of a realtor, I do want to get started on social media, right? So if you could give me like the top 3 to 4, where would you put in priority? Where would you start? I mean, where would you, in other words, would it be Facebook? Would it be YouTube? Whatever it would be. From just someone who's not really familiar with social media just yet.
Yeah. So I'll give you the top 3 of what I would, if I was on a one-on-one coaching an agent, and it would be YouTube would be first. And it's because of the reason I just said. Ease of use, YouTube Shorts, you gain a lot of traction, and YouTube's the second largest search engine in the world behind Google. But Google is YouTube. Google owns YouTube. So really it's kind of all in the same spectrum. So I would really push agents to start with YouTube, put their focus there on video. Now, not every agent's comfortable with video, right? We don't like the way we look. We don't like the way we sound. We go through all the different objections, but we have to get over it and do it. The second one would be Facebook. And the reason for Facebook is because it's still very much, you have the ability to connect. How I see it in my eyes is you have the ability to connect with your clients, your sphere. You can stay top of mind. Digitally, it's a lot easier. One of the best features on Facebook is that little guess whose birthday it is today, right? So you can make it a little bit more personal. We don't have to remember those anymore. But in terms of being able to stay kind of in front of your sphere and past clients, Facebook is a great way to do that. So, and dive a little bit deeper in Facebook, you're always going to get more engagement posting on your actual personal Facebook. I know we preach business pages all the time. You have to have one, especially if you're going to do targeted marketing with ads and things like that. But Facebook, on your personal feed, you're going to get a lot more engagement, especially if you're in the video or photo. Okay, so I always tell agents, like if you're in a house or something and you want to take a picture of a kitchen, get in it, selfie style, and take it. Your engagement's going to be a lot more. People like to see you. And then the third would be LinkedIn, because I think
Yeah.
it's and a lot of experts think that it's the most underutilized social media platform today, right? We just learned about that last week. And
Yeah.
the reason I would say LinkedIn is for the ability to prospect and network, right? We learned how we could search, target market, things like that, really down into your network. And very similar to like what you just said with YouTube. Wow, I had 35 subscribers, but I had 1.4 thousand
Mhm.
views. It's the same with LinkedIn. I only had 207 connections, yet I had a network of 170,000 that I could then prospect and dig through to generate leads. So I would say YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Totally agree.
Okay, strategically looking at it, then, what three platforms would it be? The same three platforms for an agent to generate leads from?
You broke up a little bit there.
To generate lead from? Would it be
To generate leads from, yeah.
strategically the same way?
Um, yes, yeah. I would do the same exact way. The reason is, I might to generate leads, I might put Facebook first over YouTube, only because if you're an agent and you are friending and connecting with your actual clients you're working with, your sphere, right, all of them, and staying connected, it goes back to staying top of mind. And I just truly think that Facebook is the best route for agents to do that digitally.
Hmm.
So, right, and we know that our sphere and past clients are a main source of revenue and repeat business and all of that. So that is a huge priority. But I'd probably say the same, but I might switch YouTube and Facebook.
I like what you said about LinkedIn when you were here. You don't really need to engage or post all the time. You just kind of put it out there once in a while. One of the biggest leads I ever got in my career was from LinkedIn. I don't post things on LinkedIn. It's just someone.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have been on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have gotten the lead, right? So,
Yep.
how do you recommend using LinkedIn? You post
Yeah,
once
I
in a
mean,
while?
yeah, I would definitely use it consistently. I would incorporate into your prospecting plan for sure. Um, but yeah, like I was saying in the training, you don't need, this is one platform where I will say that you don't need to post there regularly. You could share other posts and things like that if you want to continue to engage or just keep your feed going. But really, you should leverage it as a prospecting tool, um, and incorporate it into the time slots that you're setting aside to prospect, because there is gold there in building relationships. I mean, this is a relationship business.
Is it a better platform for recruiting?
Yes, yes. In terms of agents for brokerages,
Yes.
yes, yeah. And the reason is again, you can easily see what's difficult on a lot of these other platforms is you have to run ads in order to view or get in front of people. And with LinkedIn, you can easily, for free, just like what we did last week, go in and start paring down and filtering to people who are in real estate or with a certain brokerage or all of that experience, and then you can start reaching out to them on that level. So it kind of gives you, and it's more of a warm contact because you're connected or you're on a second degree, you have someone in common, you have more details or contact information, you have a little bit more info about their background, and you can connect with them in that sense. So yeah, for both agents and even brokers to connect with other agents, 100%.
Okay. We're talking about all these different platforms, and you're a whiz and very up to speed on all of the ones that you teach and you know about. How do you stay on top of the social media world, because it's changing daily? How do you keep yourself knowing what happened last week or yesterday? I mean, how do you stay on top of that?
Subscribe to a lot of different outlets.
Stay honest,
So it
right?
comes into my inbox. No, it's, and John, to your point, that's very true, because as I even continue to get older, I'm starting, there's features on the phones and things like that where I'm like, wait a second, is this passing me up now? This isn't supposed to happen yet.
Come on, man.
Yeah. So yeah, no, a lot of research, a lot of I think the best educators and trainers, in my opinion, are ones that are continuously learning themselves, and trying to stay on top of everything, right? Because we have to bring them the latest content and things like that. But there's a ton of different outlets. I mean, Inman's a great one to be part of, but there's those resources that I kind of continue to research, or I go to YouTube. What's new with the new Instagram? What's the new happening with this? If I hear or I see about a change happening, I dive in a little bit deeper, which is really why I even set out to start Rock University and really dive more into training, is because I have empathy for agents. As being one, I know how time consuming the whole business is, right? You wear several different hats. Your marketing, your branding, the agent itself. You have to stay up to date on all the different contract changes. You have to be your negotiation skills. What are your marketing tactics? Your accounting. Your several different things.
You're referring to all the things they don't show in HDTV.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't see that when I was a kid. I just saw the pretty.
I would encourage agents that want to go on YouTube. I would just click, and I do this a lot. Moving to, and then pick any city. Pick any city, and you're going to get tons of examples of what to do. Tons of examples on what to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
So if I want to get started on YouTube Shorts or YouTube, what do you recommend the first thing I do? Just hold up a camera and just start, or what?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get your mindset right. So you can't go into it going, right? We hear this with everything, but you got to have your mindset right. You can't go in it going like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I hate this, blah, blah, blah. But you're really doing it because it's a great way to produce content for your business and to be able to get in front of more people. And my suggestion, to answer the question first, is I would just go in, right? Most people have the YouTube app downloaded. It's so easy. You just go in, you click the little plus sign in the center there, and you're going to click create short, and it steps you through the whole thing. Create your first one like you're not even going to post it. Just go in and get comfortable with it, right? Get comfortable with seeing yourself in the camera, because that's the biggest objection that I see. Set it up, and find a topic. Like you said, here's 5 reasons why you should move to Las Vegas. 5 things you should know before you move to Las Vegas. And kind of just play with it that way, and take a little bit of time, but don't overanalyze it, because then it will never get done. It'll never get posted. But yeah, I would just dive into the phone and just start recording.
Okay, so when you were doing real estate before you got into all this, you were using social media, I take it, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So in doing real estate and using social media as part of that, tell me, did you have any failures trying something that just didn't work out for you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, there's, the biggest feeling of defeat is producing content or recording something, and you get 1 or 2 likes and there's no traction or anything like that. But, that happened several times, but I had to learn just to get over it. Right. I'm in the business, and really all agents should be, especially in today's day and age, should be in the business to producing content, educating prospects and buyers and things. But in terms of failures, yeah, I mean, I would take a lot of time in producing something and it would get nothing. And then I would take no time, quickly do something, and it would get the most attention. So it kind of changed my mindset in saying, it's not really, quality of course matters, but consistency, you got to just keep doing it. And I know I've said this in other classes too, is someone who posts consistently 3 times a week consistently is better than the person that posted that 7 to 13 times that day and they don't do it again for 3 months, right? It just doesn't work that way. So also, I would empower agents, and I think you guys would agree with this, we see all the time, is agents get to a certain production, they should start handing off these tasks. But we don't, for some reason. We want to hold on to it. I mean, if you're producing, whatever the dollar amount is, you really should start delegating.
Aren't you the face of the?
You're the face. You're the
Definitely.
face, but there's and you should be in the content and things like that, but you should definitely behind the scenes stuff need to delegate, right? You should have a transaction coordinator. You can have a social media manager, that helps you coordinate all this if you need to. Um, but honestly, I think it really comes down to time blocking, and that's what I learned for those failures. And when that light bulb went off, I was like,
Sure.
okay, I'm going to sit down today. Today is just content, and I'm going to produce as much content as I can, prepare a little bit for it, and then it's done. Instead of trying every day to scramble. Oh,
Okay.
I got to post something. I got to post something. No, take one day, time block. We have the time right now. Time block and produce the content and then get it out there.
All right, I have one for you. And I wonder about this all the time. And you may not have the answer to this. So if you don't know the answer to this, that's fine. I know you're in the social media world. I mean, you're seeing it, you're learning it, you're seeing the new things transpire as they come up. Like you said, you stay on top of that through the people who broadcast it. What do you know, if anything, about what our competitors are doing better than us or as good as us or not at all?
Yeah, I think that there's in terms of agents, competition in terms of agents. Yeah,
Yes.
there's some agents that I know. One particular agent here in Arizona that she does all. I mean, she produces 30-40 million a year, and she does all the social media herself.
Hmm.
So I think competition. They take the time to learn it. They see how important it is, and they just somehow incorporate it into their business. They just do it, right? Goes back to that whole Nike thing. But because I get objections all the time of, I don't, agents will tell me, I didn't grow up with this,
Yeah.
right? I didn't grow up with this. It's technology's not my thing. Well, we also didn't grow up knowing how to drive, but we learned, right? So, which again, I have empathy for agents in the industry in general, because obviously being an agent, there's a lot going on, but it really comes down to being organized and time blocking, and really just picking one thing. Now, the agent that I was talking about, she's heavy on Instagram, Reels, posting. That's the platform she chose, and she's been very successful. She's grown her following. I've talked to her personally. She gets leads. She actually gets real leads that she's never talked to strictly from her Instagram posting. So, you have to incorporate it into your business. You got to find a way, find time block to learn it, to produce the content, and to make sure to follow up.
Yeah, Justin, you've been teaching our agents what, every other week now, everything you learn or everything you know about social media. We've had example after example about agents that have been successful, doing well, killing it, growing their business. And yet, I just had the other day an agent say, I don't really like Facebook. I mean, who cares
Yeah.
if you like Facebook or don't? You got to adapt. You got to get on there. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I don't like social media. Right?
Damn.
It's
Whoa.
a lot.
We
Whoa.
will edit
You
that
heard
out.
it here first.
We'll edit
Yeah.
that out later.
Wait, is this
Whoa.
live? Is this live and recorded? No.
Movie of the
Wait.
week.
All right, we're done here.
Yeah.
Who's
I'll break
playing
it
you
down.
in the
I'll break it
movie?
down for you.
Somehow, I think I get the gist of what you're talking about. I do.
It's overwhelming, right? It's overwhelming. But I found a way that you if you're going to be in business, right? Because we are all business owners as real estate agents. If you're going to be in business, you have to find a way to find joy in it. You have to find a way to incorporate it into your business. And you can't get overwhelmed with it. Like I said, there's several platforms out there. Pick one. Start with one that's easy for you, that you can go hard on, that you can just, go 100 miles an hour with it and produce content and get it out there. But, I hear it all the time from agents. I just don't like Facebook, or I don't like this platform, or a lot of times I get pushback on TikTok because it's coming from, it's a China-based or owned company. So there's always pushback there. But, we have to kind of cut the noise out and stay focused on what the goal is here, and it's to grow our business. And the biggest piece or takeaway that I try to get agents right now is you have to incorporate video into your business, and the best way to do that is through social media. So from a personal standpoint, am I in love with social media? No, we all are exhausted from it at some point, right? But from a business standpoint, it's not going away, and we have to find a way to incorporate it into our business that we can enjoy that process. Does that make sense?
Okay, I get an agent. One agent that comes to me and says, all right, I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to try social media, and I want to make my business better. What's the platform I should start learning on? What's my number one platform that you want me to learn on?
YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna go old school on you real quick. So, John and I have been doing this long enough to know that. Well, first of all, when you say the word social media, people forget that the media part of it all. Back in the day, when I took a listing, John took a listing, we were guaranteed to spend, I don't know what, $500-600 in the local newspaper, and then blast out a bunch of flyers. You're going to spend almost $2,000 on stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're essentially doing the same thing for free. And why are we resisting that again? I mean,
well, unless we're posting ads on these sites, but you're right.
But it's all free.
Free.
I don't spend. You don't have to spend money on YouTube Shorts.
Time.
Right.
Time. Just costs you time.
But it also takes time to do a lot. Back in the day, where we would do all the work of taking a listing, go around and pass out flyers to every house in the neighborhood. That's all extremely time consuming and expensive, downright expensive.
And physical.
Yeah.
So all I'm gonna do is block a few hours of my day and post some things on social media. I don't get it. It's the very same thing.
It is in a different realm, right? I mean, we've kind of shifted from, right? We talk about traditional and untraditional. So we've kind of shifted from, not that those things don't work anymore. I mean, I truly think direct mail is something that's, there's huge opportunity there right now because we're so digitally focused to kind of clear through that noise, but you got to be strategic about it. But yeah, I mean, social media is free. It just costs you time to create the content and post it out there. And then a little bit of money if you're going to, boost the post or run some ads and things like that. But highly cost effective in that respect. And really you can get in front of a lot more people with social media in a lot less amount of time as back in the day when you would do that. And the other thing is we have to shift from, we talk about that traditional mindset, but not all traditional marketing measures are outdated in a sense, but we have to look at where consumers' attention is. And that's what I really look at a lot is where is consumers' attention? And it's truly with video. But in terms of marketing practices for agents, it's gone from being in the newspaper to now we have to incorporate digital pieces into that slot of what we would traditionally do. So we have to make sure that millennials are a huge pool of buyers, Gen Z coming up, things like that. So we have to make sure that we shift our business and our practices and strategies with the consumer, or else we're going to struggle and we're going to have a hard time converting business. Because if that millennial is not reading that newspaper, at least, you know what I mean? Right? Yeah. It's digital. Yeah. We're getting our news from YouTube. We're getting our news from other different outlets and things like that. So we have to make sure.
The other thing is news is negative. So I really don't want my agents reading the news.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Anybody in particular that you would recommend that they follow in terms of social media, like a Gary Vee kind of guy and all? I mean, anybody besides yourself, of course.
I mean, there's a whole list of agents. I mean, in terms of to kind of see how they're having success in their business.
Yeah.
Or
social media experts, so to speak, whatever you call them,
Yeah, I mean, Gary Vee is a huge one. I mean, he was a huge pusher of social media in terms of being able to incorporate into your business, not necessarily real estate. I mean, he's like business in general. Mm-hmm. So that's a big one. I would follow Inman, of course, only so you can stay on top of the latest news, right? This is content that you can then reiterate in your own way and get out to your public and your consumers. In terms of agents of ideas, Holly Henbest here in Arizona, she's actually with Realty One Group as well. Holly Henbest, Henbest. She she does a lot of video on Instagram, but she also incorporates a funny side to it, but also an educational piece, right? Because we still need to be human. To your point of we forget that social media is also media, but it's also social. So we should be interacting with people and not just post. Like, are you going and commenting on, finding top hashtags within your local community and commenting on local people's profiles and pictures and things like that to connect with them in that way to kind of grow your following. And I think that's something that she's done beautifully in that sense.
You find a lot of top producers are still resisting real estate, some of the old school folks, or no?
I'd say it's like half and half almost, because I mean Holly's been selling real estate I think for 30 years. So, but she's one that has shifted. She understands it. She's shifted with the times and kind of gone all in on it. And then there's other agents that like a good friend of mine here, she produces 30 million a year and doesn't post on social media one time. Right? So do you have to have it to be successful? No. But how many deals has she left on the table by not staying in touch with her sphere and past clients via Facebook? It's easy. Just keep them up to date. That's the new newsletter, right? If you're not going to do a newsletter, be friends with them on Facebook so they still see you. They see that repetition. They see what's happening, and they continue to follow you in that sense. So, can you sell a lot of real estate without it? Absolutely. But that's like saying, can you be successful without a database? Well, sure, but you're going to be running for your entire career. You're going to be chasing leads for your entire career.
Well, I have found that, and I have not been proven wrong yet, that the glue that holds a database together is communication. And this is just part of the communication that you would do to keep that database together.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
100%. And I would empower agents to kind of think of it as when you're producing one piece of content. Say I made a video right now, if maybe a YouTube short, and it was about 5 reasons to move here or whatever it is, or a market update. I would take that and I would post that on YouTube, but leverage what you just created, add that to your newsletter now. Right now you have a piece of content in your newsletter, upload that to Instagram, post that on all the other different platforms. One piece of content can be posted in a lot of different places. Transcribe it so you can have a blog. You can go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr, and have a video transcribed, and now you have a blog post for $5-10. Like, you take one piece of content and dice it up across all levels, and that's just how you can be more efficient.
Are blogs still a thing or no? I don't even know.
For SEO reasons, yes. But
okay.
For SEO reasons, yes. But that's kind of going away in the sense that videos are, with YouTube being owned by Google, and now when you Google certain things, videos show up at the very top of your search. That's starting to not be as much. But there are consumers that prefer to read over watch video. But the majority, it will be video for sure.
So just curious, you're a coach, you're a trainer. Do you like being in the classroom more so than being on Zoom?
Depending on the day. No, it's been very nice to be back in the classroom. I mean, right, going over the last few years of everyone, we've all been so secluded and things like that. I'm naturally an introvert. So, before I'd be like, yeah, Zoom all day long. But I think that kind of pushed the envelope and kind of pushed me out of that. But it's been nice being in the classroom. I would probably a hybrid, answer. But it's nice to actually be in person because I feel like people learn better that way. You can connect better and
they relate to you.
You relate better. Yeah. So I think in person would be the first pick for me.
Okay.
I have a question. So are people starting to get it after all all the effort we've been putting into this all summer? Are people getting it? I mean, you've seen the growth or lack of, so to speak, in our group. Are people getting it, you feel, or what? Are they
I
resonating with
think
what
they
you're
are.
saying?
I think they're getting it. I think they understand it. I think that they're and I think they've known about it, but um I think they're starting to get comfortable with actually just doing it. Because I will say the amount of posts and videos and TikToks and things, because I always encourage them to tag me in it so I can, go and comment and like them and make sure that they're getting that attention. But I'm seeing that a lot more over the last few weeks. So again, with consistency and repetition, and I think if they hear it enough, they just start. And right, we're just making them do it too in the classes. So uh, I think they're getting it for sure. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more content being put out by the agents that we've been working with.
On Instagram, I'm getting almost every other post, not every other one, if not just tons of them on all Realty One Group agents, brokers, all over the country. It just blows me away. The people just post on Instagram. It's insane.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
and and personally, I mean, Instagram's still my favorite platform only because it's originally when it first came about. I loved photography and it was a huge photo platform and in that respect, and obviously it's changed quite a bit, but it's just the user interface that I'm used to. But yeah, a lot of people still post on there, and you're right. I mean, I see a lot of Realty One Group, a lot of the agents that I've been interacting with in the Vegas market, posting there, and again, they're tagging me and commenting and things like that. So I definitely think it's helped
okay, awesome.
for sure.
So now next week you're going to be or actually this week you're going to be moving from social media to forums.
To forms, Skyslope forms.
Totally
Yeah.
different topic that you're used to.
Every day it's a new a new topic. But yeah, I think that if we're gonna pivot a little bit, I think Skyslope forms is going to be a game changer for agents in terms of being able, just ease of use, right? You know, I'm not used to Remind, and I was one of those agents that was gave pushback on Transaction Desk because it just wasn't user friendly. And so when we got Skyslope forms here in Arizona, I was like, wow, this is a game changer. I mean, I could get a contract written and out in 5 minutes, like it was done. And the beautiful part is, and you used to be able to do this with zip forms back in the day, but as you go through the contract and you're ready to send it through DigiSign, it automatically will put the signatures, dates, initials in the spots where they need to go. So there's no more drag and drop and things like that. Now, of course, if you need to add an additional one or something like that, you have that ability, but it really is set up to save you a ton of time. And it's all in SkySlope. So now you have SkySlope, you've got your forms, both your association forms and Realty One Group specific forms, and you've got your digital e-signature in the same platform. So
Is it
it's going to be
DocuSign or
huge.
is it DocuSign or digital signature?
DigiSign,
DigiSign, okay.
DigiSign. Yep, it's very similar to DocuSign, virtually the
Okay.
same.
So for those that
Yeah.
don't know that aren't agents here, what are we doing, John? We're talking about what? Moving from Remind to
Yeah, if you learned Remind, forget you learned it. If you have stuff in Remind or you have stuff in Transaction Desk, I would probably say we want to get that stuff transferred into Forms somehow, some way. I don't know. Is there a transfer way of doing that?
So are you talking about the like association forms and everything?
Yeah, agents who have a deal going in and it's in Transaction Desk right now or it's in Remind, how do they move that over to Forms?
So I don't think that it's not going to automatically transfer over, and I think there's going to be a cross period to where they can make sure to get that those contracts out and stuff. But they're probably, if they're currently in a transaction, they would either keep it there or they're going to have to download it and put it up into SkySlope forms.
is Forms
So
even
there might
active?
be.
Is Forms
What
even
was that?
active right now? Is Forms
It
active?
is. It is. Yeah,
It
is.
is,
So
okay.
so if you log into SkySlope and go in the upper right corner, you're going to see that those blocks. If you hit
Okay.
that, more than likely you're going to see the SkySlope forms button there to go
Mhm.
in there. I know the compliance department was testing it, and it shows up in mine as well because they give me access. Because obviously I'll be teaching it there. So all the LVR forms and things are showing up for me. So it should be active if you log in right now and take a look at it.
So if you're with Realty One Group, you're going to have it'll be a lot easier to deal with transactions instead of Remind. I looked at
Way
Remind
easier.
briefly, and my goodness, that looks like a mess to me.
Yeah, I've never used it, but that's consistent from what I hear. Just not easy,
All
and
right,
we
Joe,
need easy.
what if we not? God, we can't thank you enough for spending all this time with us, Justin.
Yeah, we're
Taylor.
looking forward to seeing
hopefully.
you maybe tomorrow and definitely during the training courses and along with next Tuesday when we teach the shorts for you two.
Yeah.
To finish
No,
off
I
your summer.
appreciate you both so much for allowing me to come in and connect with your agents. And, hopefully my goal with anything really is just if I can leave one gold nugget, right? You don't have to learn the entire thing. You don't have to absorb everything because I get it. I'm a learner as well when I'm trying to learn something. But, if they can take one thing away, then it's all worth it for sure. And I'd say that the series that you guys have put on and when you brought the idea to me, it's been well worth it. It's been well worth it.
You didn't even hesitate a minute. You said, "I'm in. I will never forget that." It was told me what kind of person.
And
you
here
were.
I thought it was because he liked us.
No,
Yeah.
he liked the idea. It
Darn.
had to do with us. He didn't even know us at the time. So.
Yeah. No, happy to help anytime.
What's the weather like in Arizona? Monsoon season?
It's been raining the last few days. Over the weekend I was in Salt Lake City and it was raining there as well. And then I came back and it was storming here. So it's nice. I feel like this year we actually got some monsoon, and you guys probably can, every time in Vegas, it's either storming or something there too. So I think that we're getting enough rain. It's never enough, but I think we're getting a good amount than what we've seen before.
You doing a lot of traveling in your new role or what? Well,
Yeah, I mean,
new.
to Vegas for sure. Yeah, no, I was in Salt Lake for. There was actually a new Realty One group that opened. So in just south of Salt Lake in South Jordan, ROG Distinction. So they just opened up there and did a grand opening, and super awesome growth, right?
Yeah. Do you go to all the openings or just a few?
I don't. That was the first one that I have actually been to.
Okay.
So as we continue to grow, as with Rock Title and Rock University, just more opportunity to be able to get in front of more agents and help them however we can.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, John. I think it's time to say goodbye to our friend Justin.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Of course.
And if you ever want to come on again, we're on Tuesdays at 9:30. So let us know if there's another topic you'd like to talk to about. We will be more than happy to bring you on.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. I thank you guys so much.
We'll see you soon.
See ya. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.